But I wielded the heavenly sword, savored the grace and fury in my blows. The pact is at an end. Now I must pay the price. I had never been one for prayer. The gods seldom listen. I would walk through hell for a chance to change this.
No! No, wait!
Heavenly Sword is a 2007 action-adventure hack-and-slash video game developed by Ninja Theory and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation 3. You know, Ninja Theory. Before they sold out. The game's story revolves around the titular Heavenly Sword, a blade said to have been wielded by an unnamed heavenly deity. The sword was left in the mortal world, becoming the center of wars over its power. Fighting made the sword lust after the life of its users, eventually killing them after a short time. So basically, if you use this sword, you die.
That's stupid!
Heavenly Sword was ahead of its time, with cutting-edge motion capture graphics, using the likes of Andy Serkis to showcase this technology. Now, Heavenly Sword started off like a lot of cliche, oh she's a girl, plots. You know the one, where they expect you to hate her just because, you know,
the prophecy and how you came into the world. A screeching, mucus and blood-covered portent of their downfall.
Is Instagram hurting your heart? What's that Instagram, man? Throwing shots at me, nigga.
Eventually I warmed up to things and could focus on the story at hand. Much like other PS3 launch games, it had solid controls and a decent story, but it was hampered with some buggy, gimmick-laced gameplay. But enough of that. Let's get into the first game I think Sony should remake for the PS5 and ultimately the PC.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping?
We must destroy that female hell hag, waiting for the moment when she can sink her slavering jaws into my sacred genitals.
He's got good brains.
So let's start off by getting to know some of these characters, so you'll understand the story better. I took this entry straight from the game's wiki. The game's narrator and main protagonist is Noriko, a headstrong red-headed woman. Pause. Time out. Is there some low-key hatred for red-headed women? Because most fiery warrior types end up starring in these games, and you know what? Back to the story. Who was born in the year of the prophesied divine warrior, but because she was a woman, her clan saw her as a mockery.
Your daddy doesn't like you very much, does he?
You mustn't talk about daddy like that.
Noriko is trained as a warrior by her father, Master Shin.
This war is of one person's making, that much is true. But that person is not Noriko,
who both cares for her and leads the tribe. He has difficulty coping with Noriko's role in the clan and with his thoughts of her birth. Noriko's best and only friend is Kai, a wild and erratic young girl taken in by Master Shin.
Maybe I'll hit your weak point for massive damage.
After her clan is destroyed by the armies of Bohan. Speaking of Bohan, let's meet some of the baddies. The game's antagonist, King Bohan, because there's always an evil king, is a tyrannical ruler determined to bring the world's tribe under his control so he can make way for a new golden age.
Or else I'll kill the old man painfully. And I can be quite inventive.
Get this sword away from him!
Kill her.
Among Bohan's servants are his general, Flying Fox, a quick fighter who plays dirty but has a bit of a speech impediment.
No trouble, sir. Well, I could slice her nicely for you, but I presume you still want her alive and king.
Presume. I do not pay you to presume.
Bohan's serpentine mistress, Whiptail, who also has a speech impediment.
My men will cut him to shreds out there. Now I can shower my attentions on you.
Wait a minute, does every villain in this game sound like Elmer Fudd? Wait, hold on, let me check my notes. Yep, they all do, because Roach, Bohan's son, of whom the king is ashamed of due to his, let's say, obesity, also needs speech classes. Now that we have an understanding for all the players, why was this game so great to play? So let's get right down to the story. I've never asked this, but how important is a story to you guys in a video game? 1 to 10, give me your takedown in the comments below. The game begins with Noriko fighting the forces of Bohan. As she is fighting, the sword finishes draining her life and she seemingly dies, waking up in a field and speaking to the power within the sword about what has happened. From here, Noriko narrates each chapter as she guides the player between decimating Bohan's forces and her descent into madness brought on by using the sword. When Bohan's army captures her father and corners Noriko, she has no choice but to wield the sword to defend herself in order to escape.
What have you done, Noriko? What have you done?
Noriko ends up fighting Whiptail and wins.
I cannot feel my legs. Shall I die?
Let me feel them for you.
But in the process is captured by Bohan himself, along with the Heavenly Sword. Noriko is then placed in an arena where she eventually faces off with Roach, son of Bohan. Noriko is aided by Kai, who delivers the Heavenly Sword back to her amidst the arena battles. Noriko and Kai kill Bohan's remaining general, Flying Fox, and then join the battle of the tribe versus Bohan's forces, which takes the player all the way back to the beginning of the game. So let's focus on the gameplay. It resembles a martial arts title focused on melee combat while featuring opportunities for ranged attack. Noriko uses the Heavenly Sword, which changes into one of 3 forms depending on what attack stance the player uses as part of a unique fighting style. But overall, this game was very good. Think God of War without the excessive violence. Speed stance provides an even balance between damage and speed, where the sword takes the form of 2 separate blades. Range stance allows fast, long range, but weaker attacks, with the sword being 2 blades chained together. Power stance is the most powerful, but the slowest style, obviously, where attacks are made with the sword in the shape of one large 2-handed blade. You may switch between these 3 to create beautiful combos. You have a dodge button and a block button, but you also have a motion control function where you can perform special finishers. The game's stages are entirely linear as you work your way from one cutscene to another. You also get to splinter off and play as a secondary character, Kai, for some portions of the game.
Shh. You've had your playtime. It's Kai's turn now.
Many of Kai's stages take the form of sniping missions, using her crossbow to pick off enemies. Although this is a great game, one of its biggest drawbacks are an overabundance of QTEs and the wonky 6-axis controls that are sometimes forced on you. The 6-axis was used to kinda help you dodge or perform special moves, and many times this either fails or you plain out forget to use it. Brilliant, Sony.
Use your common sense.
The 6-axis is also used for projectiles, including Kai's arrows and Noriko for guiding a cannon or rocket launcher. These features range between fun and punting my controller so hard it begins to orbit the moon. I won't keep you long by talking to you about the graphics, because for their time, they were top notch.
Stop the cap.
Well, almost. You can tell the devs put most of their attention into the main characters and backgrounds, but everything else, I think if they cleaned up the backgrounds and the NPCs, the game would look so much better. Graphics are usually one of the things you expect to get better for a remake, and I would expect no less if they remade this game. But truth be told, most of the game was beautiful for its time. So let's spend a little time talking about sound. The music in this game is good, but in most cases forgettable. You may hum 1 or 2 tunes, but for the most part, the soundtrack is serviceable at best. The real star once again rests on the characters in this game. The voice acting on display here is phenomenal. Even when given cheesy dialogue, the voice actors put shine on an otherwise turd of a line. So was it fun? Heavenly Sword sold over 1 million copies by May of 2008. The game was praised for its graphics and combat system. Sadly, it never caught on with the masses, and I'm willing to bet most of you watching this have never heard of Noriko or her cursed sword. Heavenly Sword was a very fun game. I bought it upon its release back when I was motivated to do such things. If you you could find a PS3 and a copy of this game, I'm sure you might like it as well. Highly recommend it. So it needs to be remade in this game. I think we could all agree that the graphics need a bit of a touching up, the backgrounds, NPCs, and beefed up the musical score. That'd be a nice first step. Then restructure some of the story and remove those pesky 6-axis control gimmicks, and this game could more than shine on both the PS5 and, wait for it,
I'm about to say it.
the PC. A series of Heavenly Sword animated episodes were released prior to the launch of the game itself, acting as a prequel to the events. You can still watch some of those today on YouTube as of this recording. Many fans of the developer Ninja Theory very well know that as they are now owned by Microsoft, it is so less than likely this one could ever be remade. Well, that's unless if Sony jumped through a billion hoops, and I doubt they'd do that, but one can dream. Hey, this has been SFC Spectacular with the first video game remake from the PlayStation exclusive library. If you like this, let me know down in the comments, give it a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later, but until then, if you can't be good at it. Peace.